Welcome to Joyful Jen Yoga. Today's practice is a short, gentle-ish practice to achieve better posture. So the idea is that we're going to open across our chest, bring awareness to the muscles around our shoulder blades, and connect to our core a little. Don't worry, we're not going to be doing a bunch of crunches or anything. We will be tapping into some plank work. Not too much. The idea is to bring awareness to our posture. All right, so let's get started. We will need 2 blocks, and if you want a blanket, have it. So if you don't have blocks, we have a couple of options. I'll give you 2 options. You could use a blanket or a towel instead. So the option with the blocks is to have 1 block on the medium height, the other block on the highest or the medium height, and we'll come into a supported fish. So it would look like taking 1 block to your base of your shoulder blades and the other block under your head. Now the trick is you want to have your face parallel to the ceiling. So if you find that your chin is tucked, you might have to lower the block. If you find that your chin is way up toward the sky, you want to lift the block or put more things, a blanket or whatever else you can to support your head. So if you don't have blocks, let me give you this option really quickly. You could roll a blanket or a towel and place it either along your spine, opening up with your shoulder blades on either side of the blanket. That feels really nice. You could also take the blanket roll perpendicular to your spine, right at your shoulder blades where that bottom block would be, and have your arms above. So you might decide one of the blanket variations or the folded towel variations works better for you than the blocks anyway. So your choice always, right? So we'll find our way. I like both blocks on the medium height personally. That's what works in my body. But everybody's proportions, everybody's spine is going to be a little bit different. So as you settle in, start to let your palms open up. Let your chest open, your heart open. Let your shoulders melt down around whatever props you're using. And then from this space, choose what you want to do with your legs. I like to keep my legs in that kind of constructed rest pose, feet as wide as the mat, knees knocked in. If it works for you, you could extend your legs more like Shavasana, or even bring your feet together, let your knees separate. Whatever feels best in your body. As you settle in, start to connect to your breath. Let the breath be full. Expand through your ribs. We're trying to create space around our thoracic spine, around our shoulders and our shoulder blades, creating more and more space for full deep breathing. When our posture feels steady, when we feel strong enough to sit tall and align our spine, breathing becomes much easier. Let's take 5 more steady breaths here. Whatever here looks like for you. Notice if your breath naturally begins to deepen. And let's all take 1 big inhale and 1 sigh out our mouth. Wonderful. Soften your arms down towards your sides. a little tuck to your chin, and then we'll roll off of whatever props we might have been using, and then start to swipe those props right off to the side, and then come all the way on to your back body. Again, whatever's comfortable with your legs. I'm gonna keep my legs in that constructed rest pose, and just bring your hands down to your belly. Return to your breath. Notice the spaciousness and the awareness of the area around our chest, our heart, our shoulder blades, our rib cage. And then from here, walk your feet so they're a little bit more hip width distance apart and your knees point right up to the sky. And then you can take your fingertips right to your hip pointers, right, like the front of your pelvis. And we'll start by drawing our tail underneath us, kind of flattening out the curve in our low back. Not that we want to do this permanently, it's just to move in cat-cows. Hold that, notice connection to your core. And then on inhale, start to tilt your pelvis, create an exaggerated curve in your low back, like you can easily put your hands underneath you. Start to exhale, tuck in, draw your pubic bone to your rib cage, and then inhale, send your chest to the sky, squeeze shoulder blades a little bit. Exhale, round in. So we're taking little cat-cows on our back, or if you want to think of these as pelvic rocks, that's what we're doing. We're tilting our pelvis. Anterior and posterior tilts. And just notice as you move from your pelvis how your rib cage responds. Do you feel when you tilt your pelvis so there's a lot of space under your low back that your ribs splay? For our purposes here, that's perfectly fine. Do you feel when you tuck your pelvis that your ribs draw in? We'll take 3 more like this. Little cat-cows, but on your back. Noticing here if your breath has naturally lengthened. And then find your way to neutral. We're going to do one more shape here, but this time we're consciously engaging our core. So that was more awareness, right? Just noticing where neutral is. So neutral's in between that big tuck and that big arch, right? Find that neutral space. Keep that connection to core, and then float your shins so they're parallel off the ground. So we're in a reverse table shape. Take your hands to your thighs. Start to press your thighs away and then resist with your legs. And see if you can start to feel a little shake come through your body. Hopefully engaging that space right below your belly button, your transverse abdominis. Take another inhale here. And exhale, soften your feet to the ground. Reach your arms up overhead. Stretch your legs long. Take a full body breath in. And a sigh out. Let's do that one more time. So we're going to press our hands into our thighs, resist with our legs, and see if we can really activate our abdomen. So the transverse abdominis is a really deep abdominal muscle that wraps. It's our posture muscle. Like, this is it. This helps us so much to keep a nice, strong, tall spine, and then we work into our shoulder blade area. So from this strength, let's activate. Press your hands to your thighs. Thighs resist back for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. This time, let's hug our knees into our chest. We might rock a few times side to side. And then keep that right knee hugged in. Extend your left leg long, let it land. Squeeze the right knee as close as feels good into your body. And then we'll take that right knee with our left hand and draw it all the way over to the left side of our space. If the knee does not come comfortably to the ground, bring a blocker, a blanket, or a bolster underneath it, okay? I want that knee touching something. The right arm now is going to reach up and across at a diagonal. So not straight out to the side, not straight up overhead, but instead at a diagonal. The right arm may or may not touch the ground. Notice here in this universal twist how you can feel your entire torso, your rib cage, your spine, hopefully, opening up. Let this be soft. Encourage spaciousness across your chest, spaciousness around that right armpit. 3 steady breaths here. Notice how breath changes in the twist. And then soften that right arm down. Hug the right knee back in. Come back onto your back. Take a breath in. And then release the right leg. Notice perhaps the right leg might feel a little longer than the left. Feel your body for a moment in this Shavasana shape. And then let's hug that left knee in and we'll twist in the other direction. So squeeze the left thigh in first. Notice how that feels. Connect. You might wiggle the knee around a little bit just to, again, kind of feel into your body. And then using the right hand, we'll draw that left knee all the way over to the right, resting the knee perhaps on a block or a blanket if it doesn't comfortably touch the ground. So we're completely on that right side. And then the left arm will reach up and back at a diagonal. As you can see, my left arm does not touch the ground, or at least not in the beginning of this stretch. And that's perfectly fine as long as you don't have a previous shoulder injury that prevents you from being in this shape. Be patient with your body. Connect to your breath. Recognize the spaces that don't feel symmetrical. Right? Our body is full of asymmetries. Allow for a sense of surrender here. 3 more deep breaths in and out. Melting toward the ground with that left arm. We'll take another breath in. And an exhale out. Relax the left hand down. Roll back to your back. Give that left knee a good squeeze. And then release the left leg long, right leg long. Pause a moment again in that Shavasana shape. And then hug knees in. Roll to your favorite side. And we'll make our way up into all fours. When you arrive in all fours, if you like to pat up your knees like I do, go for it. And then as we make our way to all fours, I want you to start to move a little side to side, just kind of like a shifting motion. Notice how your shoulders feel, how your wrists feel, how your hips feel. And then pause and do that gentle shifting motion forward and back. Nothing crazy, just a little, shoulders a little forward of the wrists and then a little back from the wrist. Hips a little forward of the knees and a little back from the knees. And then start to make the gentlest of circles. No more movement than you were just moving from side to side and front to back. Really settle here. And then pause, circle in the other direction. Take note of your shoulders, take note of your low back. And then pause. So we're going to start to bring a little bit more awareness So the area in between our shoulder blades, our rhomboids, with what we call scap push-ups. So we'll press into our fingertips and then melt our heart toward the ground without bending the elbows. And then we'll press our shoulder blades apart, heart up toward the sky. Melt the heart down, press the heart up. So imagine somebody just had their hand right here in between your shoulder blades, and you were trying to kind of pinch their finger, and then you were trying to press their finger away. So you're squeezing shoulder blades together, you're pressing them apart. 5 more like that. Melt, press away, melt, press away. Notice, might start to feel a little heat build there in between your shoulder blades. 1 more time, melt down and press up. Beautiful. Let's let our knees go wide. We'll shift hips to heels and then settle down into an extended child's pose. Arms reaching forward and your forehead down on the ground on a blanket or a block. 5 steady breaths here. Try to imagine elongating from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head. Continue that steady breath in and out through your nose. On your next breath in, lift up onto your fingertips so your elbows and your wrists come off the ground. Inhale, lift. Exhale, walk to the left. Take your right hand on top of the left, interlace your fingers. Pull slightly back with that right arm. Let your head hang in between your hands. It may or may not touch the ground. Imagine you could breathe even deeper into the right side lung, opening up through right side rib cage. And then gently walk back through center on inhale. Move over to the right. Take your left hand on top of the right. A gentle pull back action with your left shoulder blade, your left hand. Create more and more space in that left side. Breathe more intentionally into the left side. Soft jaw, soft brow. And then inhale, bring it back through to center. And then slither your body forward until you end up in Sphinx pose. So elbows right underneath your shoulders. Forearms parallel-ish. Shoulder blades draw together down your back. So Sphinx pose is great for kind of heart and chest opening, awareness of the muscles around your shoulder blades, but what we want to watch is this. Sphinx pose does nothing for us if our shoulders are up by our ears. It's more of a lift and an opening. Press strong through the tops of your feet for 3 more breaths. And we're going to move into one more little core progression. So the idea here is that you don't ever need to be in a full forearm plank, especially if that's just not what you're interested in doing. But we can start to activate our core muscles in a way that's really helpful here. So tuck your toes, keep your knees on the ground, and then start to lift your bottom ribs off the ground. As you do, press up in between your shoulder blades, that space we were playing with on all fours. Staying there, you'll really activate your core, stay neutral in your neck. And then if you'd like, your belly could lift up, your hips could start to lift up. You could in fact lift your hips so that they're parallel or in the same long line as your shoulders. Staying there, or if you'd like, you could lift the knees up, and we'll all hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1, lower your knees down to the ground. We'll walk up into a tall kneeling position. Draw your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers. Start to draw your shoulder blades down as your heart lifts up. Open up across your heart and your chest. Take a big breath in. And out, release, give it a shake. So we'll send our feet out in front of us, coming to a seat. Draw your left foot to your inner right thigh, left knee opens out. Take an inhale, and on exhale, we'll crawl our hands forward, coming into a forward fold. Feel that for a moment. Feel the stretch through the spine and the right hamstring. And then inhale, walk your torso back. Take your left hand back behind you. Sweep your right arm up and see if you could lift your hips open across your chest. And then we'll lower that back down. Press into your left foot, left knee up to the sky. Stay here, or take the foot to the outside of the right thigh, whatever feels better in your body. Hug that left knee with your right arm. Reach back with your left hand. Lengthen up through the crown of our head. Again, length and integrity through the spine. Take another inhale. And exhale, unwind, look forward. Squeeze that left knee in and then release. Hug the right knee in. Let the right foot come to the left thigh. Right knee opens out. Fingertips on either side of the left thigh, and then walk your body forward, melting down. Feeling the stretch in the back body, the stretch in the hamstring. Inhale, walk your torso back up. Right hand comes back. Left arm reaches up. We press our hips to the sky if that feels good. And then lowering back down. We'll press into the right foot. Knee points up to the sky. Option, foot stays to the inside or outside of that left thigh. Hug the right knee in with your left arm. Right hand comes back behind you. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. Notice if there's spaces along your spine that feel tight. Take another inhale. And then on exhale, gently unwind. Give that knee a little squeeze. Release your legs out in front of you. Wiggle them out. We'll take one more shape here before we come into a seat. Bring your feet in close to your bum. Knees point straight up to the sky. Couple of options. Fingertips could stay down. We could squeeze those shoulder blades on our back and we could sit the whole time here. Or if it feels okay, the hands will plant, fingertips facing you, and we'll press up into a reverse table here. Opening up heart, chest, arms, squeezing the glutes lightly. There's a nice connection to core here. So we're seated or we're in this reverse table for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1, lower your body back down. If you have a blanket and you like to sit up on it, we will fold it right underneath our sits bones, and then coming to your comfortable seat, reach our arms out to the side, palms facing forward, and then draw your arms back a little. Now, as you do that action, can you do it without lifting your ribs? Can you keep your ribs pulling down? So you're drawing shoulder blades back. Good. And then bring your arms up like a cactus. Inhale, elbows pull back even farther, and then exhale, round it in. Inhale, lift and open. Exhale, draw in. One more like that. Inhale. And exhale. Release your hands down to your lap comfortably, palms up or down, whatever works for you. And then let's settle our bodies into a seat, propping up your sits bones as much as you need to feel neutral through your pelvis. So we're not tucked in, we're not overly arched. Feel that connection to your midline, to your center. Feel your breath. Notice if you feel a little bit more prepared to sit. Can your eyes be soft or closed? As always, stay for as long as you can in this seated meditation, or if you'd like to find your way down to Shavasana, resting on your back, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, we'll take 5 deep breaths together here. Noticing how your breath moves in your body in this moment. And on your next breath in, float your arms up overhead, and then exhale, bring your hands down to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Bowing forehead to fingertips in gratitude. I wish you all abundant joy and better posture. Be well.